we're talking about is taking dinks out of the air, right? So when we're receiving a dink that crosses our body at a relatively high point, okay? So for too many of us, we're used to dinking off the bounce, but at any height, we can reach it out of the air, we're firing attacks, right? We want to understand just because we take it out of the air does not always mean we can attack it. So I call getting comfortable at dinking kind of balls in this box around your knee height. Getting comfortable just waiting and dinking that back is the glue that holds your kitchen game together, right? And taking a dink out of the air, it's not a sexy shot. It's oftentimes not even going to get you way ahead of the point, but it gives you a subtle advantage that a lot of times we don't realize. And more than anything, it's just the best available option when receiving aggressive dinks especially, okay? So to go about what my options would be. So if I get a dink that's coming in a line drive and it crosses my body about here, okay? Let's go over what I could do with this if I didn't take it as a dink out of the air. If I attacked it, where am I gonna have to hit what trajectory in order to attack that? I'm gonna have to aim high, and then if Ethan sees it, sorry guys, if Ethan sees it, he's not gonna have a tough time slapping it back in, right? Or if I don't hit it high, if I just hit it level, it's never gonna clear the net, right? A lot of us, and I've been guilty of this, is why I know it so well, a lot of us, when we're receiving aggressive dinks, we treat it the same as though we're receiving a lift dink. Meaning, we get a ball coming at us and we think, I've got to get behind it to let that thing bounce and sit up to do my thing. The problem is if it's an aggressive dink like this, by the time this person says, nope, I'm going to get behind it, and they step back, that ball doesn't bounce and sit up nicely in front of us. It stays low and it makes us get completely out of position, right? So if we try to use an anchor step against aggressive dinking before we've seen if we can take it out of the air, it's not going to be that effective. And attacking is not that effective. So the right shot is to simply hold our ground and dink it back. But why are we spending a little bit of time specifically on this dink? Because it's a little different situation. When we're dinking a ball that bounces, all the energy, or most of it anyways, gets taken out by the ground. To where now we can add a little bit of motion every time we're playing our shot. We're giving it a little bit of energy. See that? There's a little bit of a follow through. But if I use that same motion, contact, and pushing through, and I'm dealing with a ball that has not bounced yet, let's look at the results. So go ahead and give me just some normal, little bit aggressive things with the knees, and I'm going to contact, and I'm going to meet that ball. Give about a foot of contact point, just like I did. Here, here, here. Look at how far that's going, okay? Because there's more energy of the ball at me. So, what I want to take out is I want to take out this foot of motion every time, where I'm here and I'm going and I'm meeting the ball, here and I'm going and I'm meeting the ball, and instead have the paddle out here. And my motion isn't going to be forward, forward, forward as much as it is up, up. So it's not my paddle that's moving a lot. Go ahead and give me up here. One part of my body is moving a little bit more. If I don't use any legs, it can die, right? So I'm using my legs to lift it up and over. So the paddle is out in front, there's minimal motion, and my legs are the source of dinking until I get an attack on the ball, right? So again, recapping. Even on our lift dink, from here to here, we have a little bit of motion before we pause our follow-through. If we use that same approach, dinking out of the air, this amount of motion is going to lead to wild pop-ups time and time again. So we need to be out here waiting. We're going to get under the ball, and it's our legs that are going to do the majority of the work with our paddle, not our paddle independent from our lower body. Remember, it's the same logic. If we want to apply arc and get shape on our ball, our legs go up and down. If we want to hit a line drive shot, our legs push forward and stay down. So in this instance, we're usually a long arc to clear the net. The legs will help us do that. Gentlemen, anything on this shot?
Yeah, so a couple reasons why it's important to take the ball out of the air, right? Even if Kyle is not necessarily doing anything with those, I have to respect that he could flick that at any point, right? If someone just backs up and lets everything come off the line, I know they're not really going to hurt me. And now I also feel like I don't even have to hit a good dink, right? I can hit a pretty crappy dink, and I know he's not going to hurt me if he's backing up. If they're leaning in, right, at any point he could go ahead off the line.
Yeah, it's not a smaller target, but
still can, right? So it's important to shrink the kicks on our opponents. Other thing we want to focus on is not overextending elbows, right? We have to have good posture, butt goes back. But if I find my arm totally locked and now I'm having a hard time not even falling in, then I've overextended and I will let those bounce and just reset.
Yeah, definitely such a thing as overleaning. You mentioned it, this is how I look at it. You want to lean to some degree, but how do we know when too far is? For me, I focus on my elbow. If my elbow has a little bit of bend, doesn't have to have a lot, a little bit of bend, my shoulder is the muscle that's in control. Okay, that's the one that's pulling. The moment I lock that elbow, not only do I almost fall forward, but my wrist wants to take over with a locked elbow. So I'm focused on my elbow having some bend, trying to take it out of the air. When I feel this, that's what triggers that anchor step to play off the bounce. But if we don't do that work and that mindset of trying to take it out of the air first, we're receiving a ball, always stepping back, always stepping back. We're going to choose the wrong ball to do that on, and then that ball's going to get completely behind us. Ethan, anything else?
I would say the majority of these are backhand. The reason for that is with your grip, you guys have your paddles in hand. When you are leaning with the backhand, your wrist is straight, so it's firm. Whereas if you're in continental, if you're trying to find a forehand out of the air, this is very uncomfortable on the wrist, and the paddle's not as strong. Right? So anytime our wrist is perfectly straight, is when the paddle's going to be the strongest. So we want to try and find a lot more backhands out of the air here with this taking out of the air.
The other reason, just to piggyback on that, is part of the reason I'm not great at taking backhand kicks out of the air. I love everything with my forehand. If you notice, I still tried to show it with the backhand. It's because in a moment when we switch from dinking to attacking, visually it's almost the same look. I dink this ball, I attack that. I haven't had to move my body. With the forehand side, this is my dink. But if I get a high ball, this is an awkward paddle position. So I usually have to slide my body out of the way to put it away, and now I'm leaving support open. So if we get more comfortable dinking with our backhand, we can attack more easily on that side as well. Okay, drills are going to be, I'll be the teacher. Ethan's going to be the student here. I'll have him showing his dinking again as a teacher. I don't have to do this continuous. I'm trying to hit it level, aggressive like a push dink, aiming at his knees. He's focusing on taking it out of the air. If I don't give it to him, he could take a step back and he's overreaching, but he's focused on taking it out of the air if he can, giving me a smaller target, taking my time away, just like that. Now progression 2, after we've gotten some feel, we're going to get right into that second progression, and this is really when we work on this skill the most. The difference in a ball that we should dink and maybe should attack, sometimes it's just a 2-inch difference. We want to mentally be able to tell right away if a ball's attacking. Okay, so easiest way for me is getting my body down and getting my eye line level with the net. The net is the best indicator of what is or is not attackable. If I'm up and looking down, I can't tell you if this is above or below the net right now. I'm not sure. Once I get my eyes down, I can say, oh, it's about the right height. I can go ahead and pump that attack. So now, as a teacher, I'm doing essentially the same thing, but I'm going to have my paddle up ready to defend myself. If I give Ethan an attackable ball, even if it's just an inch over the net, I want him to pull the trigger out of me, switch from dinking to attacking, and then we'll play it out. Here we go. Play it out from there, right? Focusing on switching his soft mentality, going aggressive. The moment he sees even a slight mistake from me, then we can play it out from there. We don't have to keep track of score. But I'm working on being a cooperative teacher, helping him work on a specific skill. And when he does attack, I can work on my hand speed and defending myself as well. So we just have 2 drills with this one. One where we're working on just the dink, and then we're either attacking or dinking based on the height.